Good morning again, grade 7 students. We shall now have your vocabulary lesson for this week. Are you ready? Great. Please prepare with you your literary companion and your pen. This week's lesson on vocabulary will be about selection vocabulary and connotation and denotation. Open your literary companion on pages 260 until 261. Let us recapitulate first. Last week we had our selection vocabulary. Remember those four words again? Okay, we have used in the poem incessantly, muscular, sage, and supple. Great. And we try to use the three different types of analogies. What are those again? Okay, we have the relationship that shows between a part and the whole. That's one thing. Another is the relationship between a thing and the quality associated with it. And the third one is a type of person and what he or she does. These analogies show comparison between, very good, pairs of words. Excellent. Our goal, our learning objectives for this week's lesson and vocabulary will be these. First, I can define the vocabulary used in the story, and I can identify the connotation and denotation of some words. You'll have first your selection vocabulary. Now get your book, your literary companion, and open it on page 260. But before that, you have to remember or to define each word one by one. Remember what we had yesterday? Okay, go back again to our set of vocabulary and let us continue. Our first word say possessions. Once more, possessions. It is a noun which means things that one owns. All the things that you own. It could be your gadgets, your car, your house, and so on and so forth. Those are your possessions. Say possessions. Great. Word, say fragments. Once more. Great. It is a noun which means pieces or parts of larger things. Those are fragments. Say recuperate. Recuperate is a verb which means to recover from something or to heal. Great, that's recuperate. Next, say grotesque. Grotesque, it is an adjective when we describe something that is extremely or very ugly. Say grotesque. Next, we have cobblestone. Once more, okay, it is a noun which means made of flat, round stones. As you can see in the picture, take a look at there. Okay, those are cobblestones. Next, we have dilapidated. Say dilapidated. It is an adjective to describe something that is worn out and very bad looking due to neglect. Or simply it means disrepair or ruined or destroyed. Take a look at the picture for shoes. Okay, that's dilapidated. Last word we have glint. Say glint. It is a noun which means small bright flash of light. That's glint. Your selection, a series of unfortunate events, the bad beginning. We have defined earlier these 7 words. What are those again? We have cobblestone, dilapidated, fragments, glint, grotesque, possessions, and recuperate. So you are going to select the vocabulary word that can be associated with each description below. Are you ready? Okay, let's do it. For the first one, pieces of larger things. I repeat, pieces of larger things. What is the appropriate vocabulary for that? Is it dilapidated, fragments, or possessions? Okay, great. That's fragments. Circle it. For number 2, we have extremely unpleasant. What is that word again? Is it cobblestone, grotesque, or recuperate? You start circling your answer. And for number 3, we have get better or heal. What is that? Is it glint, possessions, or recuperate? Take your time in answering, students. Moving on with practice B, identify the vocabulary word that is related in meaning to the italicized word in each question. State your reasoning for each answer on the space provided for you. On number 1, which word is related to belongings and why? Okay, go back again to our set of vocabulary. We have, great, the word possessions. What does it mean again? Okay, this word means things that belong to you. How about for number 2? Which word is related to light and why? Put the word and then explain the meaning of that word. Same with number 3. Which word is related to street and why? Explain it. Take your time in answering. For the last part, we have to apply. Answer each question with a yes or a no. Then explain your reasoning on the space provided for you. Could a dilapidated house be grotesque? Yes or no, and then explain. Okay, yes, why? Because a house that has not been cared for might look very ugly. How about for number 2? Is it possible that any of your possessions or the things that you own could somehow become fragments or broken into pieces? Yes or no? Then explain. How about for number 3? If you twisted your ankle on a cobblestone street, would you need to recuperate? Yes or no, and then explain. If your ankle part of your foot has been twisted in a cobblestone street or a street that has a lot of flat and round stones, do you need to heal or recuperate? Yes or no? Take your time in answering. Moving on with our next lesson, connotation and denotation. We are still on your vocabulary lessons for this week. Open your literary companion on page 261. On our text for page 261, it is written there, a word's denotation is its definition. These are the usual or common definition that we can find in a dictionary. Get it? That's denotation. Next, we have connotation. A word's connotation is a feeling that is associated with the word or the meaning that is being implied. Authors consider both denotation and connotation to choose the words that will convey their ideas most precisely or most exactly. Now, we are going to read these excerpts from our text this week, and we are going to compare. Got it? For example, number 1. And the two Poe children, Edgar and Albert, were loud and obnoxious boys with whom the Baudelaires had to share a tiny room. For example, number 2. And the two Poe children, Edgar and Albert, were loud and disgusting boys with whom the Baudelaires had to share a tiny room. Same text. For example 1 and example number 2, but they have used different words. What are those? We have, great, obnoxious and disgusting. Literally speaking, both of them share the same meaning. They are synonymous, and that's denotation. Got it? Because both obnoxious and disgusting mean highly offensive, unpleasant, or distasteful. However, we could see from the word disgusting, it conveys a stronger feeling of distaste compared to the word obnoxious. Get it? Apply what you've learned. Read this excerpt from our text this week, The Bad Beginning, then answer the questions that follow. "And the baby's bites," Edgar said, tossing a chicken bone to the floor as if he were an animal in a zoo and not the son of a well-respected member of the banking community. Now, select the word with a similar denotation of the underlined word. We have the word tossing. Is it hurling, dropping, or moving? Circle your answer. Great, we have the word hurling. For number 2, how is the word you selected, which is hurling, different in connotation from the underlined word? So we are going to differentiate hurling and tossing, not in denotation because they both mean the same, in connotation level. So we have hurling has a connotation of being more forceful than tossing. All right, students, now number 3 on page 261 will serve as your homework. The question is, what is the effect of changing the underlined word, which is tossing, to the word that we've selected, which is hurling? Does it make the reader picture Edgar throwing the chicken bone to the floor with much greater force? Explain your answer. As a recap of this week's lesson, remember our selection of vocabulary. What are those again? We have the cobblestone, dilapidated, fragments, glint, grotesque, possessions, recuperate. And of course, don't forget their meanings. Then we also used connotation and denotation. Remember that the connotation is a deeper meaning or what is being implied. And for denotation, it means the literal or the dictionary meaning. Got it? And don't forget to answer your homework in your literary companion on page 261, the number 3. This has been Teacher Frances. Bye everyone. Have a good day.